If you go to Aruba, there's a lot of trucks that sell, oh my God, the best salchipapa you could have, the best patacon culomito you could have.
Okay.
Like, shout out to Julius. Julius. Oh, Jesus.
I feel like whenever they have somebody name it, just good.
Yeah.
Genuinely, you have Yvette, you have Julio,
Eduardo's.
But
all
that's
of them.
because it's like, this my shit.
Exact.
And
My
exactly.
name is
Taste
on
it.
this.
Yes.
So it better be good.
Oh. So what's going on, guys?
So what?
It's me, Haiti Leonie.
And it's your girl, Jojo Renee, and you are tuned into Bite the Bullet podcast, episode 60. But in Aruba, they say episode 60. And we have a gorgeous, gorgeous woman on the couch. Let me give you your intro, the one you deserve. To be honest, we met funnily. I met you through your friend who was interviewing me for her thesis. But from the time I met you digitally, I was like, this girl is a vibe. And then we officially met in person at it had a name, right? Living in the Netherlands, Blessing or a Curse talk show.
Last month.
When I tell y'all, as soon as this girl walked in the building, you could feel her energy. I was like, oh my gosh, hello. And she is a dance teacher from Aruba. And she has her own podcast.
Rule the R's.
Which has one of my favorite sayings, but not the full saying. So I like to say, Mita by being back. And the podcast is being back.
By being.
Yeah. Da. You see? By being.
But you said it right though. Mita by being back.
Mita by being back.
That's how you say it.
Today
What I
we
mean
have,
for the people that don't know.
I'll be right back.
It means you'll be right back.
Say.
I'll be back in a jiff.
Say. For all of the Papimento speakers, I know y'all enjoying this episode already. But yes, guys, today we have Eva Croes.
Hey.
I had to roll my eyes. But yeah, how you doing? Tell them about yourself.
I'm good. Thank you so much for the invitation.
No, thank you for coming.
No, but listen, these girls are telling me I have the energy, but they got the energy. And behind the camera, you can't see her, but Kristen Sorton, she's also got the vibe and the energy.
Yeah.
No, thanks. No, I'm Eva. I'm 33. Just turned 33 actually. Oh, I have to look over
Happy
here.
belated birthday. When did you turn 33?
The 22nd of May.
This is the Jesus here for the 92 people.
Yeah, 1992. I'm a 90s baby. That's it.
Yeah, happy belated.
Thank you so much. I'm a dancer. I'm a professional dancer, but I'm also a teacher. I like to create. I like to be artistic. So dance is the foundation of what I do. But I'm very much into film, series. I like to build, so I like to use my hands. You know? So like I love arts and crafts, but I'm discovering a little bit like, okay, I kind of like to build installations too.
Okay, honey.
Yeah, I like to be busy. Yeah, you know, I like to dive into things that seem very unfamiliar, but once you're into it, it feels familiar. So I'm kind of like, okay, it kind of feels like a calling. I should be doing this.
Yeah,
I should be like discovering and dabbing a little bit into like the different types of disciplines that are out there. But I'm a dancer, and that has pretty much been my foundation for my whole life, actually, since I was 3.
I was going to ask,
yeah.
like, did you always know you wanted to be a dancer, or?
You know, it's funny. I'm discovering as I get older, as I become more adult. Let's put it like that. Once you're becoming more of an adult. I felt when I was little, I definitely had the feeling like, okay, dancing is my most preferred discipline, where I could really like out my feelings and like put my emotions into like a certain way. So movement and utilizing my body with music has always been something that very much spoke to me, and I always loved it. And I think teachers saw that I was very driven to like learn more. I took every class that I could and just tried to get better at it. So it felt natural to go for that. But now I'm in this phase, my boss tends to call it the 30s blues, where you're kind of like asking yourself, okay, like, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? Or do I want to do something else? And how am I going to give that shape? So I'm in this phase where I'm like, okay, I've had a great career, still have that career, and very much building my way towards like a certain, where can I go? What is the peak? What is the top of like where you could go? And but I'm also looking into maybe stepping into other disciplines and seeing what that could bring me, and also on a personal level, you know, what can it do for me? Because I know what dance can do for me, and I know what it can mean. And I understand as well, like, how you can develop yourself with it. But now I'm curious to know, like, okay, can I develop myself in something else, you know? So
I have so many questions of what you just
bring
said.
it on. I'm very open.
But I was like, well,
Let's go.
Pause for the 30s blues, but you kept calling it discipline. Like, why do you call it discipline?
Because I kind of feel like every creative outlet, if you want to do it on a, well, in this case, on a professional level, you know, you don't have to. Because I kind of feel that sometimes professionalizing in something also can take away the essence of what it actually
100%.
should be. You know, like that trend on TikTok, like, I forgot that this was the whole point. And then you see people actually like doing the activity as it should be done without having to think like, oh, I have to be super good at it and I have to earn my money with it. No, you can also just enjoy it and enjoy what it can give you.
Not have any pressure.
Yeah. And when you professionalize, there is a certain discipline because you have to, in this case with dance, you have to be an example. So you're a teacher. So you need to stand in front of a group of people and you have to like be very secure of what you're teaching them and what you want to give them. And that takes discipline because you also have to train yourself. It takes years of training. You know, your body has to adjust to a new way of moving. And I'm very much trained in like the classical contemporary styles. So that already has like, there are no gray areas. It's either wrong or it's good, you know, ballet wise, you know? So yeah, I call it disciplines because I think if you want to be good at something, you have to also have a certain discipline to like show up for it every time and show up for yourself so you can really learn the skills and utilize them in the end.
Yeah.
So,
How did they receive it at home? Like when you were like, oh, guys, I'm going to pursue dance.
I mean, I wasn't the greatest student. I was always so busy with dance that I was in high school. I went to Colegio Urbano and I did HAFO. But I kind of always was like, you know what? If I get a 5.5,
Yes,
as long as I can as long as I can go to the next year, you know. While I know that there was so much more that I could do with my potential, cognitive, you know, cognitively. But no, I said it to my mom, and she was kind of like, "You serious?
What you saying?
What are you saying?" Like, I'm like, "Yeah, I want to dance." She's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I'm sure." She's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because it's what feels at this moment the most natural to me, you know? It's what keeps me busy. It's what I can still grow into. There's so much to learn from it." So it kind of felt like natural to just pick that at the time. I also have to say that in Aruba, at least in my time, it's kind of difficult for you to just really figure out what you want to study because you're kind of far away from where all of those studies take place.
Exactly.
You know, so financially, it's not always possible for people to travel back and forth to Europe to go figure out, okay, let me go to an open dag.
Yeah.
That just wasn't financially possible for me, you know? So then you go to the decan and he has a couple of like big jumbo books with all of the studies that you could possibly find in the Netherlands. And I'm kind of like, I have to find my future in those books. Like, no, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. So I just went with what felt natural to me at the time, and that was dance. So,
But I love that she received it that way because I think sometimes growing up maybe that's not just the islands. I think it depends on the culture.
Yeah,
that we have this certain idea that like the specific careers that's acceptable. And I remember growing up like loving creative stuff and dancing and music, but in my head that was never a career path that I was going to even be able to choose. Like the furthest thing was like interior design or something. Yeah. You know? But like tapping into that creative side, that didn't even cross my mind as, you know, some things. And then sometimes I wonder like, how do you feel? Like, did you struggle having to like feel like dance is like respected?
I kind of feel like we tend to see it, well, we as in, you know, the community of where I come from, we tend to see it as a over glorified hobby. And I think that that's such a pity because there's so much talent on our islands. And I also look to you guys and I see St. Martin and Seba and Stacia, etc. And I'm sure that there are so many talented people who are aspiring to really make something out of it and really try to make money out of it. And I think when it comes to that, it's so important to just know what your qualities are because the industry is built on this, you know, there's only so much place for so many people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Scarcity approach.
Absolutely. And, you know, what I said already, sometimes it's very difficult for you to keep going and not forget about why you're doing it. You know, what is the essence? What is my purpose within this discipline? What do I want to do? You know, what do I want to achieve? Do I want to do it like on a commercial basis? Like, do I want to be a backup dancer for, I don't know, a singer like Lady Gaga? Let's take an example. You know, as an example. Or do I want to choreograph, and for who do I want to choreograph? Or what kind of group of people do I want to choreograph? Do I only want to work in the Netherlands? Do I want to work in Aruba? So you also have to try and see like, okay, if this is something that I'm really going to go for, absolutely, it's difficult. It's a very long path. And it's absolutely also knowing people,
100%.
Connections, you know, who do you know? Where can you go? Do you want to teach at schools, or do you want to teach at academies? So you really have to know very well, like, what you want to do. And sometimes you go for it because you think like, okay, let's see what happens. But sometimes you kind of go for it, and then it's kind of like, okay, this feels aligned, so let's go for this. Let's go for that. And then you kind of see the whole picture. You're kind of like, okay, I can navigate through this. And then sometimes it goes super well, sometimes it doesn't. It's really an up and down type of journey.
But they say the up and down journey is better. Like they did a test with balls. They put a metal ball, two metal balls, PG. So they put one on a flat pane and one on an up and down pane, and they let them go. And the one on the up and down pane went much quicker than the one on the flat pane, even though it's of course angled. But they say like you need those hills and valleys to kind of get through life. It's inevitable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think whatever success means for you, it never comes in one straight line.
No, never.
There's so much to learn when you're, let's say, at the bottom of that curve. And once you climb your way up, you start to notice like, oh, I've discovered another bit of myself that I haven't before. Or, oh, I'm also capable of this. Oh, I'm strong. I'm very resilient. I can take whatever this industry is currently giving me, because currently I have to probably learn something from it, you know? So kind of like, obviously you have to give a lot to your craft before your craft starts giving back to you, 100%, you know? Like, it's kind of like an investment. So if you go for it and you know that it's also a short career, because dancing, I think like performance-wise in dance, I don't know, my body could probably give maybe 5 to 6 years more. If you're lucky and you're, you know, very well trained and from a young age on, maybe your body could hold on to 40. Who knows? I see the shift in the dance world, especially in the UK, that, you know, you have like the Royal Ballet Company, and their principal dancer is like 42. And I'm like, wow, good for you. You know, I'm happy that your body can still give. So I think it really depends on what kind of, you know, what are you utilizing with exactly? And my body is telling me, girl, couple of more years and you can like put it down. It's okay.
I guess that's one of the realistic sides of like dancing, but you was like there's a lot of ups and downs. And what has that been like for you within the dance scene? Because I know I danced for a couple years.
Oh, really?
But it wasn't always the best experience. But I think people underestimate how much it takes out of you just mentally.
Yeah.
And also, as you say, just physically. And then also sometimes the space isn't, I don't know how it was in Aruba, but it's sometimes also a very like vicious space. And like you have to I think I was explaining to my brother that what it was for me is that you have to constantly like prove that you're good enough to be seen and valued in the dance scene. So I wonder how that was for you.
I mean, before I even answer, do you guys know Otmar Martina?
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, so he also navigates in this industry with me, and he was my student. You know, and Otmar is one of those dancers who he's so talented. So talented.
Yeah.
You know, like he has this body that bends forward, backwards, sideward. And I'm like, oh my God, you know. But if I look at it realistically, I don't have that body.
Yeah.
You know, so if we talk about like performance wise, I think Otmar, if you see this,
Shout out
You better be seeing
you know, Otmar will probably have a career that, you know, will have him very vitalized. And what do I mean with that is that he has this body that can handle the type of training that they really ze eisen het van je. You know, you need to be well trained. You need to be well trained, whether it's on a technical level or a creative level. You need to be able to do stuff, and he can.
Yeah.
So if we look at it from my point of view, yes, you have to keep proving yourself, and you have to show them that, you know, why should you pick me above the other? Is it pleasant? No, I'm not somebody who's very competitive, but But I do see that while that is a part of the dance industry, there's also a part of the dance industry that's very much open, you know, and very much welcoming and more interested in what you can do on the creative factor instead of like, oh, what can you do? You know, can you do a trick? Can you turn? Can you this? Can you that? No, I can do a lot. I can do a lot, but what I can do, I hope, you know, especially at the time when you just started studying, you hope that there's a place for you there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So the up and downs, I would say, also comes from, for example, wanting to give back to your island. Like I've tried to like initiate a lot of projects and stuff, but then you start to notice like, oh, okay, so there are ways to getting around into like initiating a project. Aruba is a very small island, and of course, you know, you want to be able to give back as much as you can.
Yeah.
Especially after living here for very long, you want to bring back a certain knowledge, but you start to notice that not everybody is open for that.
Yeah.
And so you also start to like realize, okay, what can I give back? What are they open for? And sometimes it's a bit of like a downfall where, for example, you don't get funding, and then you're kind of like, so now I have to cancel my project, which means you also have to disappoint some people who work for you. Like, hey, I'm so sorry, this project's not going to pull through. Stuff like that. Or for example, like you and I were talking before, because she's a teacher.
Yeah.
So, and I teach at ROC.
Yeah.
And like, for example, it's a beautiful job, but we do get like students who, you know, who come with a certain baggage.
Yeah.
And you're very much involved in this trajectory with your students. So even though I've learned to like separate the personal from the professional, sometimes you take that professional home with you, and it can have a toll. It can have a toll on you mentally, emotionally. You know, I also had a burnout, you know, like it's kind of like part of that package. So when you're trying to professionalize in a craft like dance, you give everything physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, because you're really going through a transformation. Yeah. The transformation can be very scary. Also brings the ups and downs because you're confronted with yourself. Yeah. You know, and then it's up to you if you're willing to go, you know, one-on-one with yourself and to go face that confrontation where the transformation lies. Some people don't want to. Some people are kind of like, no, this is it for me. But if you do go for it, it does mean that you have to do a lot of inner work and try to figure out, okay, what kind of dance teacher am I going to be? What kind of artist am I going to be? What kind of dancer am I going to be? But it's a tough industry to navigate. But if you can find a place and you can grow and you can keep developing and connect yourself with other type of people, for sure it has its beautiful things.
Yeah, it's like a family when you find.
Yeah, it feels like a family, especially when I see that there are more Caribbean people. Yeah, you know, then it makes me feel super happy that I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. You know, because that's the thing that I kind of like was trying to observe the past couple of years. Are there going to be more Arubians that will take that route? Yeah, you know, maybe one or two will, but a lot of them won't. And I can understand that because, you know, our community is also, it has to be encouraged, you know. But I do think that in the future, I hope that the structure around creatives and artists that live on Aruba, Bonaire, Curaçao, and anywhere else, that it can be more accessible and taken,
and encouraged.
Yeah, and encouraged, and also economically also be taken more seriously because people are making money with their crafts, 100%. You know. So you cannot deny that is also part of why your island also, you know, takes a couple of steps forward. And
how big was it for you? Like, how big of a role was it coming from Aruba and your background when you came here to dance and study?
Oh my God.
Because I feel like here probably was a different
scene. So professional opportunities on Aruba are not a lot, of course. So you take what you take what you get. Of course, I had a very ambitious teacher who really wanted her students to grow and get as much experience as possible. On Aruba.
Oh, that's nice.
You know, so I definitely had my share of experience for somebody who comes from an island, and not to say that there's nothing there, but if you really want to, there are no dance academies on Aruba. So you don't have a choice but to like move abroad and see where else you could go and study, you know. When I came here, I realized that on a technical level, because you have like dancing that you do for yourself. But if we were talking about like technique, you know, that you really know how to do certain, that you know how to execute certain movements in the correct way. I had a very, very big achterstand. And it was scary because I was in class with people who are like professional already, and there I was like, hey, fresh from the islands,
Just got here, guys.
where we do dance on this recreational level, very high recreational level, but you know, I have no idea really what dancing means, you know, in the structure of the academy, of course. I don't know what that means. I don't know, you know, what is transcultural, etc. So I felt like I was very much not on the level of my classmates and what the academy asked of you. So it was a bit of a shock. And I really had to work super hard to try to get to a certain level, because if you do HBO, they don't go back to the basics. No. They kind of like go from advanced and on. And at the time, I, of course, didn't know much about how the dance worked here. So if I could do MBO, if I could do it all over again, I would have done MBO first and then go to HBO.
Makes sense.
You know, but it's okay, because on the HBO, cognitief, I could take I could take the theory classes and the academic classes that we got, the essays that we had to write. Something that I also struggled with a lot when I arrived here was the fact that my Dutch was just not on point at all. And so my way to getting through everything was English.
Wait, in Aruba, they don't speak Dutch widely?
They do. But of course, when you arrive at an academy, it's like
it's a different level of Dutch.
And high level Dutch. And I'm like,
But you also underestimate how much you don't know about the language.
Very much so. So when I arrived at the academy and we had to like write these papers out and we had to do like, you know, presentations, I always asked, could I please do it in English? And my first year, they were very much like, yeah, of course, you know, try to settle down. Once you're comfortable enough that you're willing to do it in Dutch, you can go for it. But I'm happy that I could do it in English anyway, regardless. Because I felt that, you know, I'm in a strange country, you know, I'm at a strange school. So let me settle down at my pace. And so I wrote a letter to the board like, hey, you know, I can understand Dutch and everything you're giving me is very understandable. But for me to be able to like navigate through what it is that you're trying to give me, could I please do it in English, you know, academic English? And they approved it. And so that was great. But it was very much also, you're at a Dutch school, you know, so I didn't have at the time many schoolmates or classmates that I could recognize myself in. So I felt very much not alone, but very much alone, you know, individually. So I tried to connect with people, but not everybody will connect with you. Or, you know, you're trying to find common grounds, but you notice, okay, there's a cultural barrier there as well. There's a language barrier there. And while everybody was very nice and very kind, you still sometimes, you know what I mean? There has to be like a click. And then I didn't have
the energy aligned.
I didn't have that with most of my classmates. So, and that can have an effect on your trajectory, because you're very much trying to find your way.
Exactly.
You know, while also missing home. And, you know, it's cold.
It's great.
You have to dance. You have a 9 a.m. ballet class, you know, and you still have to like get your homework done, and you have to go to your internships, and it's snowing, and the trains are not riding, and you're just trying to figure out your life. So that can sometimes be very much, it can feel like a very deep struggle, you know, but you try to get yourself out of it. And I guess through dancing, I could in a therapeutic way. And at the same time, you're kind of like, no, I want to finish what I start. So that's kind of like how it went for me. But they were good times, beautiful transformations, and necessary development to be able to do what I do today.
That's beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Well, for our development, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, please.
That'd be good.
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yeah.
You know, because this has so far been a very amazing episode. I think you have a lot of stories to tell, but your story is also very beautiful. No, genuinely, because I'm listening to you talk, and it's just amazing to see how you found a way to express yourself, but you also know yourself. And you kind of, now you're sharing that with the world through teaching, but also just through being you. And I think it's beautiful. Okay, let's move on. So we do our song of the week. And I don't know if y'all got your song of the week. What do you want to put on the playlist, guys?
It's not new, but I just, for some reason, I learned the dance. It's been on my... It's on my piano, Sensele.
Let's go.
Oh,
Sensele, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the dance you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I missed the memo.
We got you. Don't worry.
Okay.
And then you?
Me, the song of the week for me, Senegal Fast Food.
Oh.
From Manu Chao.
I'm excited to hear the song.
I really want it. Senegal fast food.
Senegal fast food.
That's a crazy name.
It's French. So
This is
I think
our
you speak
second French
I
song.
don't-
Oui,
I
un petit peu.
No.
Baguette,
Je
croissant.
ne parle français.
Baguette croissant.
See, like all I... Un, deux, trois.
No.
I could say another one was a bad word, so I can't say it on the YouTube.
No.
But yeah.
No. But it's a French song and it's very it's African. But it's fun. Like when you hear it, it's kind of like you're being transported to like this Tom Sawyer type of movie.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Tom Sawyer.
It's fun.
I'm curious. I'm very curious.
Kristen,
What you talking about, Willie?
I'm not saying that Tom Sawyer is like the best thing you should watch, but it's like there's also this animated version of it.
Guys,
I mean,
that
most of the time period. I don't know.
No, it's just like it's giving me a vibe of like, let's go outside, let's have some fun.
Okay.
Like, oh yeah.
Okay.
I like Manu Chao.
I want to
Yeah.
listen.
Manu Chao is cool.
I really want to check it out. For everybody listening, check out our playlist
I go
because
watch it.
I am very curious about this song. Senegal fast food. That name in itself would make me listen.
Yeah.
But mine is I thought let me put a Samaritan song that I've been rinsing. Time to Grind from BRG Hollywood. When I tell you what's the time, wow. Even when I was in Sabre, so side note, we didn't even ask how we're doing, guys.
we did not.
But side note, when I was in Sabre, right? So we have this little bar, Zanzibar, and unfortunately all the clubs kind of closed down. So that was the only bar you could go to. But when I tell you, it's not ghetto, but it's Sabre, you could be the DJ. So they have a laptop with YouTube and you just put on songs, right? Everybody's vibing, but I feel like we wasn't vibing enough. So I put on Time to Grind from BRG. When I tell you the whole bar was going crazy, I was like, yeah, that's me, DJ Jojo. It felt good. But yeah, that's my song of the week. I think big up BRG for what he doing. Because even in St. Martin, I was like, this man really, even in like TikTokers from Dominica, in St. Lucia, like he's going places and I'm excited to see where it goes. But you should listen to the song.
I will definitely listen to it.
It's lit.
Very
But
bouillon.
how are you all doing? We always have a check-in, but we skipped it.
You're the guest.
Me, I'm good, babes.
No.
I'm good.
What makes you good?
Tell us.
This.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like this. These things make me happy because I kind of feel like we don't per se maybe come from the same island, but there's so much connection, you know, and things we have in common. And no, I'm doing good. I think I was telling my friend this morning because she also asked me like, how was your week? How was your birthday? How do you feel? And I'm like, you know, I have this internal shift in me that I'm very much enjoying.
Oh.
There's something very securing and I want to call it magical, but there's also this feeling of like, okay, I know what I want in life. I know who I am at this moment. You know, today. Some days I don't. Some days I do.
It really be like
But
that.
today, yeah, you know, I feel very much connected with my being, and I love that because for a long time I didn't feel it. You know, life. But no, I feel good, and it feels good to just like talk and sit down and enjoy the little things in life, while also just trying to like plan the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But that's okay because you realize now, okay, you know. Going back to the dance has shaped me, has taught me to be resilient. And I kind of feel like, okay, bring it on. Don't bring it on too hard, but bring it on.
But bring it on,
You know what I
ready
mean?
for you.
Yeah, no. So I feel good. What about you guys? What about you, babes? What about you?
we both just come back.
These two literally just stepped off of a plane like a couple of hours ago or something.
She couple hours me yesterday.
Yeah.
How?
Literally
Yeah.
The jet lag.
I don't know if maybe it's my 30s, but I just sleep when I want to sleep.
Oh,
I don't know. So I don't know about jet lag. Jet lag don't know me.
you slept
even
on a plane.
When I went down to Martin, I forced myself to sleep because the guy next to me was so excited. That was his first time going. So he was just asking a bunch of questions.
Oh.
At a certain point, I was like, you can go and you can experience it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just...
Like Uber driver, don't talk to me type thing.
But also,
Got it.
like, I can't describe the whole island for you. Like, you should just go and experience it, you know?
Yeah.
So then at some point, I was just like, let me go sleep. And then he leave me alone after that. And then I reached back and I didn't have jet lag. I reached home and I didn't have jet lag. I just was sleeping when I wanted to sleep.
Good.
The only thing is I couldn't sleep after 5 a.m. So I was up 5 a.m. every day.
Yep. But that's what I like about going to the Caribbean.
Jet lag, it was the chickens in the yard.
Oh, that makes sense.
That. Yeah.
Wow, Kristen, that's accurate.
That was the
that was
on point.
No, but Kristen and her animal sounds.
Kristen,
like you should have her T-Rex.
T-Rex.
And she don't even. I don't even think you intend to do a T-Rex. You don't just sound like a T-Rex when you do it. I'm like, what?
We're going to insert them and you're going to sound exactly like them.
Haiku.
Because that's crazy.
I'm curious for that T-Rex impression.
Oh my gosh. But no, it was such an amazing, it was short, but an amazing trip because I went for family, my mother and my friends. So it was just a beautiful and wholesome week. Yeah. I'm good.
You only went away for a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we just had my frequency.
Uh-huh.
If it was connected, it would have been great. But yeah.
Okay. That's so nice.
I know. Thanks.
So nice.
We so wholesome on this freaking couch, guys.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Oh, yeah?
I'm happy to be back, but not from a place of like, I'm happy to be away from home. To be honest, I could go back tomorrow. Genuinely. I feel like I got a bit attached to my parents, hikey. Yeah, because I miss them. I have like withdrawal symptoms, guys. Last night, me and my mother called each other to finish the series we was watching, and we was both on like FaceTime, and then we had to say the seconds. Like, okay, I'm at 5 seconds, so it syncs up, so we could watch it together.
I feel like I need to pitch this to Netflix. I was watching something on Netflix.
No, Apple TV.
That they need to do this for long distance relationships.
Yes,
that 100%. You could connect.
Not even long distance relationships. No,
but
people.
Relationships could be your family.
That's true.
Like the dynamics, but like you know, so that we could start it at the same time. And then if you watch it without me, I go no, because then it like you know what I mean.
That's very true.
So Netflix, if you're listening,
I'm gonna be on the lookout.
I think that's a brilliant idea.
But then, for example, you wouldn't have to tell each other the seconds.
No, but I ain't gonna lie. Me and my sister get elite at syncing up. When I tell y'all we could sync up one time, because sometimes when we're not together, we like to watch our show, but yeah, we don't really have time, so we fit it in. But yeah, the show was Severance, by the way.
Severance.
It's very interesting. I finished it with my mom last night. It's very interesting. It's confusing, but big up Apple TV. Like,
I did like the
cool
first
shows.
season more than the second.
Yeah,
but the second ended really well.
You think so? That shit pissed me off.
No, I feel like they ended it really well.
Sorry. Bun them.
It pissed me off, but it ended well.
But yeah, but I feel very rejuvenated. Just from a place of, for one, when I went home, it felt different.
Yeah.
Big up all the people in St. Martin and Sabre who really, really have been about the podcast and within the community, because we really felt it when we went down, and I want to say that. Big up Tyler from Skillful Band from the bar. He wanted me to dance on the bar, but that didn't happen. But this man was DJing and bartending, and it was all just a vibe. Yeah, this was the day before I left. Yeah, and I felt bad because I didn't know Skillful Band. And he was like, you don't know Skillful Band? I said, I'm from Sabre. He said, Sabre people know me. I was like, maybe I know you, but I don't know you. But yeah, big up him. But also when I went to St. Lucia, I just really feel like family in St. Lucia. That's where I feel the most just a part of a family. So being there, it was hard to leave. I'm not gonna lie, it was really hard to leave. I think definitely when I go again, I'm gonna stay longer because it was too short. Like my y'all come, your mother messaged me.
My mother
your mother was like, next time you go, I come, and I say, no problem. But no, it was amazing. Yeah. And I think for me, with all these trips I've been taking, finding a way to combine my work, but also to find more of a purpose, even for Sabre. I've seen things where I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to contribute. Oh, they had Sabre Doot, SXM Doot, Kura Doot. I didn't know they had so many Doot.
Yeah. They be doing it.
Aruba Doot.
Yo, but we had to paint. So there's a child focus. That's where you have all the after school activities. And we had to paint like the playground for the kids. Guys, it was so much fun. Like it was really enjoyable trip. The only thing I would have to say that I really want to mention on the pod, when it comes to food, I do feel like my island needs to get it together. Because I was telling you, in St. Martin, you could get coconut on the side of the road, coconut water. I could go get provisions, salt fish, Creole, red snapper, whatever.
Creole,
yo,
red snapper. Are you listening to this?
Yeah,
it's so good. Hey, if you want a nice dinner, I made one like a couple of months ago with Funchi. Oh my gosh, guys, we're gonna have a dinner. But anyways, on Sabre, everything is quite processed. and you see it reflected in the people, but also just how no, not badly like that, but we have high rates of like heart
like
problems and diabetes and stuff like that. So it's apparent that what we eating on the island, I feel like, is not nourishing us. And I felt that when I was there.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love them mini marshmallows and I love my Fruit Loops and whatever, but I generally felt like meh. Because and it affected like how I showed up for my work and also just my energy. And I think it's so important for the island. I don't know who's listening to this from the island. Open a restaurant and make some saltfish and provision, or find a way, because I know I'm not going to, but like find a way to get the island to reach a point where we actually eat nutrients. I really wanted to say that.
Or somebody should start growing something.
We do have
everything.
No, like we have they've recently started. We have like a farm. And it's crazy to me that they haven't done it before, because the island is so rich in soil and we're moist because we're high up. But they have like a market now, I think once or twice a week. But for the rest, we just get a fresh leftovers from St. Martin once a week. So I realize how difficult it is to eat good on the island because it's not so available. Like we literally, the stores are full of American stuff. Yeah. But other than that, I'm good. Yeah.
I feel like at the same time, I have the total opposite. Like the food is so immaculate.
Yeah.
Like this is free promo, but Big C's in Puerto Rico, that was the best food I had in my life in the past couple of months, years.
What did you eat?
Okay, the funny thing is, we went Yvette's that day.
Yeah.
So I was still full. So I just took conch soup, but it took everybody else's food. And from the sweet potato fries, best crispy sweet potato fries I ever had. From the lamb chops to the lamb, there was another lamb thing, to the ribs, to the salmon, to the mashed potatoes, even to the like garlic bread they brought on the table. But my conch soup,
Side note, I love that you say salmon. Because I say salmon. And everybody comes for me for saying salmon. Because they say the L is silent. No, it's salmon.
Yeah, it depends.
I mean, it's salmon. I watch Kristen, because Kristen be knowing these things.
I say salmon.
Do you say salmon or salmon?
Salmon.
Salmon.
Okay.
Right?
I think that's a very...
Salmon.
Kristen, what you to say?
Salmonella.
What's up, man?
That's why I was thinking.
But you know how many people will correct me and be like, no, it's salmon. No, it's Anyway, sorry, that was a tangent.
I should know. But I think there's probably a difference in the UK and US.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Salmon.
Oh, you
Salmon.
say often or often?
Often.
Often.
How often?
I say often.
I say often, but apparently it's often.
Not them doing a like reverse on us, because we usually use shortcuts and take out letters and words.
Often.
Often.
Says who?
Often.
It basically depends on the British and American.
Yeah.
Often.
Probably. Yeah.
So
Often.
often.
How is the food on Aruba?
The food is good. I need to say. Kristen, you know the food. You mentioned funchi. We eat that too.
Yeah.
Oh, I love a funchi.
Yeah, we have like my mom. I can eat my mom's food anytime. She knows how to make a fresh fish. Salmon. Let me put in papiamento. Salmon. Yeah,
good.
My
Gushy.
mom. Pisca corra, pisca blanco, salmon. My mother can make that really well. I love that. What else do we have on Aruba? Like we have a lot of American chains over there too, which I'm not very happy about. We need to. It really has to like.
Well, like Domino's and stuff like that.
Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's.
That's the one thing we don't have. Side note.
Yeah.
Like we don't have any fast food.
Really?
No. We too small.
We
but
do.
yeah.
Well, we have too many of it for such a small island. So I kind of like, I need to say it's a +1 for me when we talk about like, you see that the community is kind of like, on health wise. I think it would be so good to like, less of these American chain restaurants and like more of the local
Soul
type of products.
food.
Yeah, exactly. It's very possible. So it's not impossible on Aruba either. But I do think that we have like, what Kristen says, we have a lot of those like, what I like, community truck. Yeah. If you go to Aruba, there's a lot of trucks that sell, oh my God, the best salchipapa you could have, the best patacon culomito you could have.
Hey.
Like, shout out to Julius. Julius. Oh, Jesus.
I feel like whenever they have somebody name it, just good.
Yeah.
Genuinely, you have Yvette, you have Julio,
Eduardo's.
Like,
But
all
that's
of them.
because it's like, this my shit.
Exact.
And
My
exactly.
name is
Tasty.
on this.
Yeah.
So it better be good. But
Yes.
question, how big is Aruba? Like, I'm sorry, but I don't know how big y'all are. Like,
Oh my
population-wise,
God.
how big?
Population-wise, I would say between more or less 200,000. More or less.
Y'all Aruba big.
Big.
200,000 is a
I have
lot.
2,000.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
I give.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Sorry.
200,000 is sizable.
I mean, it's sizable, but like we're like packed.
Yeah, I get what you mean,
congested.
Like what do they say in Dutch? Like dicht. Yeah, like dicht bevolkt. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Den Haag.
Yeah.
That part.
Yes.
Well,
The half is
anyway.
properly
I remember when
packed.
I was 11, 12, so I can't remember experiencing it like that.
The only thing I remember is there was this bungee jumping thing, but for kids, and I hated it, and I was crying on it because my stomach was up there and I was below,
On
and I
Aruba?
just don't like that feeling. See,
On Aruba.
sad.
I went to the
Fire
water
Island?
park.
Yeah, Palm Island.
Palm Island.
Hey, kijk. No, I like Palm Island, and now Palm Island's become like a real tourist type of thing. So I think the last time I went to Palm Island was when I was like 6, 7 or something. And it was cute.
2008. You calculate that.
I love it. No, yeah, it's been a long time. But no, Aruba is small, yes. Very touristic. Too
Yeah.
touristic. Just want to say that.
Are there a lot of Dutch people like on Bonaire? Because Bonaire have a lot of Dutch people.
Bonaire tem hopi hene holandês.
Yes.
Hey, Seba too now, eh?
Say.
Sorry, the
Say.
coming this time, Seba have a lot of Dutch people. I've never seen so many Dutch people on the
Like
island.
living?
Yeah, but they come in just to put something on their resume. As in, like, they will come for 3 years or something.
okay.
But it's a lot. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like little Nederland.
Yeah, I think Aruba is also Aruba does have a lot of Dutch people, also residences, you know, like, so people who really like went to
Move
live
there.
there, yeah, and have like their own house and have their family there. I also know a lot of Arubians who also, you know, marry Dutch, you know, so
Yeah.
that's that
Mix
kind of
and
like,
mingle.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, Aruba has a lot of tourists, and the mostly that you would see are Americans. And I think that kind of like is one of the reasons why we have so many of those chain food restaurants. They
Yeah.
call Aruba
Makes
like they call Aruba like mini Florida.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I think that's a pity.
yeah.
That's really like,
I mean, to
nah.
compare it to Florida, yeah, that's very unfortunate.
Aruba man.
Right?
But for some reason, Aruba is popular in America. Like when it's some of the Caribbean countries, like a lot of time when you watch shows, like I'm going to Aruba. Yeah,
It's true.
Like, yeah.
Because it's open up the Caribbean map and go for the first country in the list.
Oh, yeah, and
Oh,
it's
like
like
it's
A.
a-
Could be. And then Aruba's A, of
And
course.
they're definitely not going to Anegada.
Antigua.
Exactly. They don't even know.
What?
Yeah.
They do be going Angola though.
They
Angola
do. Because the
expensive.
beaches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But no, Aruba's, I think that when I was on Aruba in December, so that's like Christmas, New Year's time, then it's lovely. It's pleasant, you know, because you're with your family.
Yeah.
You know, but then when it comes to, for example, like spring break,
Yeah.
oh my God, then you see so many Americans having their spring break on Aruba. They go crazy with them boats and those speedboats
That's
and
crazy.
those, what do you call those four-wheelers?
Yeah. That sounds fun,
ATV.
though.
Those ATVs. It is fun.
But
It
it's
is
a lot.
fun. But it's a lot. And I do see that it goes, you know, like our natures are getting the consequences of it. You know,
Yeah.
we have animals that are becoming like, you know, you don't see them as often. You know, our nature preserves are like, I don't know. And what I find a bigger pity is to see that Arubians actually want to cater to those kind of activities. And I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
but babe, this is your home. Don't you like want to take care of it? Like, what are you
Exactly.
doing? You know, I
Yeah.
get it. But on the other hand, like limit that. Our island is
Yeah.
small. You're making it smaller.
That part.
True.
You know?
You had
So
a would you rather?
Yeah, but it was about dancing. But I was first going to ask because
Would you
like
rather?
sometimes I feel like you know you have there's such a separation with like the SSS and the
yeah.
ABC.
Yeah.
And then I feel like until I come here and start meeting people, is when I was like, oh, we like each other.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I didn't always feel that. Like, I don't know if how it was on Aruba, but I remember growing up on St. Martin's, like, you used to really hear people feeling like there's a separation and like we're so different.
But that
But we
separation that you talk about, we sometimes also feel it within the ABCs.
No,
Yeah.
but I do
No.
feel like it is. We are different because even I talk to some people with government, whatever, and they talk about policies that they apply to the islands. You can't apply the same policies that you apply to Bonaire to Aruba. Like I do find we are different as islands, especially from Seba and St. Martin because we speak English and whatnot. Having the ABC, I feel like y'all are closer and we are closer, but. I think coming here, I also have it like you, where I realize even though we're different, we are from the Caribbean, so we do mesh well.
For sure. I do like I don't know. For me, growing up, I never felt the separation because on Aruba, I also grew up with people who are from Seba, Sint Maarten, and Sint Eustatius.
Yeah.
So you do get like a taste of what the culture can be, but I think it's different. You know, they're in Aruba, but imagine you go to St. Martin or you go to Seba, you go to St. Eustatius, and then it's different again because it's another type of like experience on its own. But I've always very much loved how the cultures indeed would mingle. So like when it comes to Carnival, we have a lot of music that's from St. Martin, you know, and I'm like, oh, this is so good.
I can't lie though, Aruba, like, I'm trying to separate nobody, but Aruba is like more similar to us because of the history of like a lot of them going to move St. Nicholas, especially the people from St. Nicholas Self, how did this? I remember when one of my friends used to live and she had a roommate and we were on video call. And the whole time I think she next to us in Martina. She was like, no, they're from St. Nicholas, Aruba. And she was talking like she was just from us. And whereas like sometimes with Curacilians, they don't have that. So
similarity.
And then oftentimes when I talk to Arubans, it's like we get each other.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know, sorry.
No, no,
Right.
No, but I mean, yeah.
I get it. I get your feeling. No, but I always when I meet up from people from St. Martin or from Seba or from St. Eustatius, it just feels natural. Like we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
You know? But I also have to say that sometimes I also have to find navigate my way through like people from Curaçao or people from Bonaire. And just because we're next to each other, every island really has its own thing.
100%.
Its own individualism, you know, its own culture. We might speak the same language, but it's not the same, you know? So like a papiamento, very different. How you pronounce certain words, how you write certain words, religion, you know, music. Everything is so different, you know, while there is a lot of common ground.
Exactly.
You know, but yeah, I totally get it. Because I do feel that when you come together with these type of cultures, it is like, we're coming together. Okay,
100%.
But you open the book and it's like, oh, you did that? You do this? Okay. We can find a way together. And that's nice. I love that click that you all of a sudden feel because you're kind of like, okay, we might not come from the same place exactly, but we do have a lot of common history and you know a lot of like
I feel like our differences are in the same room.
Yeah, the common differences. Exactly. I think that's what you have in common.
Yeah,
that we're different and that there's very individualistic characteristics
100%.
and mannerisms, and I think that's the beauty of it.
It
you know?
is. And it's also just cool how to see how what we know, you may know, but differently. As in like even the funchi and what we had at the event, it was similar but different. And for me, I could eat both and I love both, but I wouldn't have known that if I didn't like enter into that culture or, you know? So I think that's what's beautiful about being from the small islands, let's say.
Yeah, you know, and I do think like for example, a friend of mine, Daniela, she's currently in St. Martin and she's doing research. And I asked her like, so what's it like? You know, are the people nice? She's like, babe, they're so warm. It feels so familiar. I feel like I've been here for a long time, and they're very curious. They want to chat. They're very genuinely like they want to know what you do. And I'm like, oh, I love that because I know that we're also like that. You know? So I love to hear these experiences that friends are also like very much exploring, like the other Caribbean regions that we have, and that they're like, oh, but this feels so familiar. Yeah, you know. And I think that has a lot to do with, for example, music. You know, you listen to music on Aruba, it's salsa, merengue, reggaeton, dembow, soca, zouk. You know, and I think when you visit the places where those genres are originated from, that's already like the first familiar feeling that you get. Yeah. And you kind of like want to look for it a little bit more. Yeah. I love that. And that's also the beauty in traveling, you know. Oh, girl.
It is.
Oh.
Well, I had my would you rather. It was
already.
I hope I didn't lose it. Okay. So, would you rather always have to dance like you're in slow motion or constantly look like you're doing TikTok moves even when you're not?
The first one.
Dance in slow motion?
Yeah.
Wow.
Why?
Constantly look like you're doing TikTok moves. So
even
I would be look like I'm doing this. Even when I'm not doing that.
Even when you're going all out ballet choreography.
But constantly, you ain't gonna get tired?
No, like whenever you dance.
No, I kind of feel like the TikTok things will eventually drive me crazy.
Imagine you giving a TED Talk.
No, I get it. Like picturing the slow motion that like.
There she goes.
So wait, which one would you choose?
I think I'd do the TikTok, but then I would probably stop dancing as often as I do, which is hard.
Well, it is hard.
I think
But
I'll do
then
the slow
what's
motion.
TikTok dances? Because TikTok dances is also Amapiano.
Yeah.
It's also like
Yeah, no,
all
you would
those-
just always be dancing essentially.
yeah.
I would do the slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna lose so much weight by the end of the year if I do those TikTok dances. High key.
And keep your hands
But
up.
also, some dances are fast. So if I do that in slow motion, technically it's now going at average speed.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell me I lied.
No.
I
It's
wasn't
true.
expecting you to take it there.
Yeah, it makes sense. But anyways, I wanted to actually get into, because you said navigating and coming to the Netherlands, and now you're a beautiful 33. How was it navigating coming from, how old did you move when you
I was
moved there?
21.
How was that?
Um,
Wait, so you grew up on Aruba until you were 21 and then you, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, your 20s are, because how old are y'all?
I'm 27.
27.
I just made 30.
30. Okay.
I'm the outcast of the
That's not true.
room.
No. If
It's okay.
round
I'm
it up,
coming, guys. I'm coming.
round it up, you're also 30.
That's true.
No. No, I'm joking. Well, your 20s, I think those are pinnacle years to like really like
Mess
a
up?
trial and error. I want
Yep.
to say it's very much trial and error. You try out new things. So like, for example, you go, I'm going to be very honest. So you go to a festival and your friends are like, hey, you want to take something, you know? On Aruba, I don't really have people who do that, you know? And if I do that, I have a mother who's going to be very much like, where you been? Who you been with?
Yeah.
What you got in your mouth? You
Yep.
know, and all that. And I'm like,
Yep.
hey, yeah. So I couldn't do those things when I was on Aruba, which is fine. I do think it's important to also like preserve,
100%.
be a teenager, do your thing, you know,
Yeah.
experience that as well, as sober as you can. I think that's important. And in your 20s, you come here and you can do more, you know, so the possibilities of like going to a festival, going to concerts, you know, going to another city by train, you know, so there's a lot of things that you experience for the first time. And I think your 20s are like, okay, I discovered this. I like this. So I'm going to go for the extremity of it because that's how much I like it.
Yeah.
And then around the end of the 20s, you're kind of like, okay, I've had this. Now, how much of it do I really want?
Yeah.
You know, and how much of it do I really want to take in my 30s?
Yup.
And of course, in my 20s, I also studied. So I do think that studying and like developing as a human kind of go like hand in hand with each other.
100%.
You know, in a therapeutic manner, especially because I kind of felt like the moments that I was like, what the fuck is going on in my life?
Yeah.
I had dance that I could just simply, okay, I don't have words for it, but I can dance it. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now in my, like you're 30 and I remember my last day being 29, how much I just wanted it to last as long as possible. I
Really?
didn't want to turn 30 at all. I was kind of like, no, because what am I going to do in my 30s? And I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, but they say your 30s are even better than your 20s. I'm like, no, that's
Yeah, they
bullshit.
say that's where life
You know,
starts.
no, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want that 3 behind my name. And I know it sounds so cliche, but it was just, I think it was just as well as like, I think in your 30s, things just become more serious and more
Yeah.
real, you know, you
You
start
feel
to,
like the clock is, you kind of see the clock now.
yeah, you see it and it's ticking and you have different clocks for every single thing that you're like kind of navigating through in your life. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, this clock is ticking pretty fast. What do I have to do? You know, that clock seems to be going pretty slow. So I can take my time,
Yeah.
I guess. Because life is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
You really have no idea. And I think now being 33, I kind of like, sometimes I feel like that last day that I was 29, I made too much of a big deal of it. And I was probably
Yeah.
too emotional and too this and too that. But then actually I must say that now being where I am now, it's kind of like, okay, I understand things a little bit better. I understand that, you know, for example, people in family get sick, people get older. I understand that, you know, work can be very capitalistic. I understand now that I have to take care of myself in a whole other way and not when I was 20. You know, you try to like build a sort of like a new structure for yourself because, well, I'm heading towards 40,
Yeah.
you know, so and like career switches, you know, how do you navigate that? Do you want to navigate that? Do you have, like, do you want to go home? Do you want to go back to Aruba? What do you want? Are you going to start a family? How does that family look like? Okay, you know, so many questions come above when you reach this decade. But I have to say that I do feel that it does feel better.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
It feels good. It might feel scary in the beginning because you are getting older, essentially, you know, and it does go by so fast. I kind of feel like the moment you turn like 27, 28, it's like kind of phew.
Don't tell me that.
I'm sorry.
I just reached.
Take it easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the clock's there, but I don't know if I necessarily care that they're there. It depends on what clock. Like there's certain things that bother you a bit more, but then it's still more like I'm so at peace with like the clock ticking. In a way.
No, I feel you.
I can't even describe it, to be honest. But at the same time, like I think you're just more, because you know yourself a bit better now, and it's like you know what you want to do, but it's like finding the space and time to now incorporate all the things that you want and have to do, that you're already doing all your responsibilities, and trying to navigate that now as you go into a more like secure body and space and mind, I guess.
I think, experience, in my 20s, like I fell in love for the first time, had also my first heartbreak, you get your diploma, you study, you work, and the dance industry, obviously, it's very, it asks a lot of you. You sacrifice a lot of yourself into that. So that's also what you experience in your 20s. And it feels like a very roller coaster. There's different roller coasters going at the same time, and at one point I feel like it will crash, and sometimes it does crash, and then you're kind of like, okay, what now?
And I survived.
Even
though it crashed, I'm still here.
I got some Letzel here and there, but put a little bit of gold on it, and then you look more beautiful. And you're just, I think it's just the experience that you go through in your 20s that make you okay, in my 30s I feel like if something happens now, I know what to do. I won't panic. I'll panic, but I won't panic like I would in my 20s. Like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Oh, I'm going to cry. I'm going to throw things on the wall. I don't know what to do. And in your 30s, you're kind of like, you'll do that, but you'll keep it collected. It's like, okay, I have to go through this, but I know what to do. I know who I can talk to. I know who I can reach. I know who I can call for help. And I think that's like the feeling that is the secure feeling. You know?
What was able to help you get to this mindset, but also just get you through all these crashes and stuff?
I don't know. I make it sound exaggerated. I mean, crashes are part of life, Well, for example, I had a deep burnout for 2 years. It was bad. I think all 2022, it was I was really deep. I couldn't really no matter what I did, I tried to do the stuff that I love to do. So, dance and travel and go to events, try to connect to people, but I just couldn't. I felt like I was in a very dark bubble, and no matter what I would try to do, I just couldn't come out. I just couldn't come out. Nothing that I would try would help me come above my waters. So then, you tend to explore other areas that might seem very, well, they're not. So I went to a spiritual healer, and for a long time people would be like, oh, so you went to a witch? And I'm like, I didn't go to a witch, babe. I guess that's how they're painted, but it's not like that. No, I went to a shaman, and the shaman was very helpful, and honestly, it was the cure for my burnout. It's funny that sometimes, you can go to a psychologist and you can do all of that work, but sometimes it's not what you need. So when I went to this woman, and this woman did a whole...
Question, did she do Reiki?
She didn't do Reiki. No, not Reiki, but she did a whole ceremony, with feathers and smoke and stones. It was very special, but it was also quite scary because you're kind of like, oh,
what's going on?
What is she going to do? And I won't go into too much details because I do think it's a personal thing that you 100%. Go through, but I do recommend if you're into that, if you're into spirituality and you want to it's not ayahuasca. No. It's ayahuasca's
That's up there.
That's been trending on TikTok.
I hike he would do it. No, but they say it. You have to be in a good place to do it.
Exactly.
Because if you're not, it will exaggerate exactly where you're not.
Your weak
spots.
Sense. Yeah, exactly that. So I went to this woman, and it was very much because you've been in such a dark bubble for such a long time. I left her place feeling relieved, but it took me a long time to feel safe in my own skin. So she was kind of like, hey, it's okay, you can live now. And I'm like, how do you want me to live when I haven't been able to feel good in my skin for so long, so things like this, for example, that's what I kind of feel like the 30s are also for. Okay, I'm gonna see what I really need, you know, and not walk the regular path that everybody tells you to.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel like everything has a certain medication. Can we call it like special treatment?
Yeah.
You know? Like, so you go to that one place that you're like, okay, this is for my, I don't know, let's say my emotional well-being.
Yeah.
This one is for my physical well-being.
Yeah.
This one is for my self-love. This one is to learn extra tools, you know? So
Everything has like a healing point,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it addresses
Yeah.
something.
yeah, and I'm very much into that. Like I love Buddhism as well. I've been reading a lot of books about Buddhism and like Dalai Lama. And I told you about that book I was reading with Desmond Tutu.
Oh yeah, I need to read it.
The Book of Joy. They're like, you know, so I'm just trying to like dive into like other things that I know that, you know, can serve me and on a personal level, but also
Yeah.
on an artistic level. you
Yeah.
know, like-
100%.
so I do love like discovering those type of things as well. And I feel like, okay, in your 30s, you're more open to it.
Yeah,
You know, like, yeah, reading. That's something that I never used to enjoy when I was a teenager. Me, read a book, babe, oh my God, give me books. I will read the whole summer for you. And those are like the changes that I enjoy
Yeah.
seeing.
Yeah.
You know, and you become more adult. You become more woman-like, you know? Like, I'm not a person who likes to wear heels, but I just put myself a pair of heels and I look so good. And it's like, okay, I can enjoy it. You know, like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, so you become more yourself.
100%.
And it is
Yeah.
fascinating to see how that comes and how open you actually have to be able to like see it in another light instead of like, oh no, I don't want to turn 30. But now it's kind of like, okay, bring it on.
Ready. Yeah.
What's the next level? Who's going to be there? Who's not going to be there? What experiences wait there for me? You know? So I do think with time, you tend to see it in a different light. And that's also very nice to
I
experience.
feel like everyone that talks about their 30s talk about how lit and amazing it feels, other than Khloe Kardashian. But everyone else has been like, I don't know, because I watched the show. And she was so excited to leave her 30s to enter her 40s. But that's because we all know what kind of 30s she had. But I don't know, everyone else is just like, they love it here.
Yeah, it feels good so far. It goes fast. And I do think that it's very important to like, you know, be present, you know, live your life, be here with you, be here with yourself, be here with the people who you love.
Yeah.
Really like be here, you know, keep it open, like put your phone away, you know,
that part.
take your headphones out for a moment, you know, smell the coffee.
Yeah.
Or the tea. I don't like the smell of coffee.
Okay, tea.
I love the smell of coffee. I would never drink it though. Like I like to smell coffee actually, but I can't drink it. It doesn't. It's something I don't know.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't like bitter stuff, but you know.
True.
Yeah.
Or
But I had
matcha.
that a lot. I have a place in Den Haag. They say have the best matcha. I'm going to go try it.
Have
wonder
you
if they
tried it
open.
before? 'Cause I've never had matcha in my life.
No, so they say if you're going to have it for the first time, you should have it from a really good place because some places just really shit.
True.
So I
Oh.
heard this place by HS is like one of the best in Den Haag.
Okay.
So
Send
I
it
can
to
go.
me. I'll try it eventually. See, I need to try it.
I'll try it.
Matcha.
But that is beautiful though. I feel like
Matcha.
with spirituality, it also spills out into your creativity because it's a foundation of you finding the magic that I feel like a lot of us lose. Or the phone or capitalism. You just get distracted by so much stuff that takes us away from ourselves.
Absolutely.
And I do feel it reflected in your energy, like how in tune with you are. And I think some people, they don't realize how much your art could also give back to the world. Like I was watching a TED Talk where she was saying your art is necessary. Where sometimes you feel like, or she was saying from an example from an author, the author was writing a book and in her head she was like, yeah, I'm here writing a book, but am I really doing something for the world?
Yeah.
And you don't realize that your dance, the feeling it could evoke, or a painting or a book could actually change people's lives. And I think some of us stray away from creativity because we feel guilty.
Yeah.
Like we feel like it's a downtime thing, and it is essentially, but it's a double blessing because it's a downtime thing that still creates something beautiful. And I think a lot of people kind of, I would say, need to get back into it.
Yeah.
Just from a place of grounding ourselves.
Yeah. And I think especially like listen to what your inner child says. You know, I've had a period now where, so, you know, I dance and all of that, but I'm very much looking forward to stepping into like the acting. Which is
I
something.
can see it.
Yeah, no, I love it. It feels warm. Whenever I think of it, it feels warm. And I kind of feel like if something feels so warm and familiar to you, it's probably because you should do it.
100%.
It's scary, of course, because it's kind of like, whoa, it's so unfamiliar territories. Like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do? But like when I was little, I don't know if y'all have this, but you know, there are just certain actors on TV and certain actresses in certain movies that are just like so compelling.
100%.
And they really speak to you on a
100%.
level that you're like, how the fuck did this come to be?
Yeah.
You know? And that's how I've been since I was little. If I like something, I will watch it repetitively just to make sure I got all the details. You know? So like I'm the person who will literally like, this is a movie that I've watched a lot when I was a kid. It's Charlie's Angels.
Me too.
I love it. You
Yeah,
know,
no,
Cameron
that's a
Diaz,
classic.
Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore.
Yes.
I was so obsessed with Drew Barrymore that I literally would go to the cinemas by myself. My mother would drop me off and I would just watch Charlie's Angels like maybe 3 times after each other. The cinemas would be like, again? And I'd be like, yeah, again.
You wouldn't even have to buy a ticket. You should just stay and sit.
I would stay inside. And the tickets at the time were super cheap, like single floating. And I think now you would pay like
Wow.
BT
Wow.
floating. But okay, you know, and for me, now I start to like, now that I'm older, I start to see those repetitive actions as like, oh, it's because you've always been into it, you know? So now you're at a time in your life where you could actually practice it and see if it's something for you.
Exactly.
And I think in my 20s, I would be very much held back into trying to do something because I'd be like, no, because dance is my thing.
Yeah.
Dance is still your thing.
Yeah.
But
But
you
you
can still
could
add to
other
it, you know,
things,
and live a very passionate and fruitful life doing the things that you love to do. And I think it also like, you know, like now I feel like, okay, my inner child has actually been knocking for a long time. And I've kind of like been ignoring her. Like, it's okay, hush, hush.
Go on the
Now
side
you have to listen
now.
to it. Yeah.
Go play. But I think that's the thing. She wants to play.
Yeah.
She wants to, you know, and you can't keep suppressing or oppressing that feeling for much longer because now that I'm listening to what she wants to say, now I can be very comfortable in saying like, yeah, I'm going to go take a course. I'm going to go study. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to do that. And those are beautiful things too. And, you know, that's what I mean with like this self-discovery.
Yeah. I
know?
even had it on the plane. Everybody was judging me because I had a teddy bear.
Oh, but that's...
Yeah.
What?
Okay, they wasn't judging me.
Who should I was about to say?
But they would watch me like, even the flight attendant when I was going down, he was like, how old are you? And then he looks at the bell. I'm like, 27? But in my head is like, look, one thing about me, I love a plush.
Yeah.
I just love a bear. And my parents got it for me for Valentine's Day.
That's
but I
adorable.
also am big on like, I'm not going to ignore my inner child. If I want to travel with my bear and cuddle it while I'm in that seat, I'm going to do it high
do
key.
that. You do that. And honestly, the older you get, the less you care.
Yeah,
Trust
I
me.
heard from 30 up, I heard you don't care anymore.
Like, just do you.
Yeah.
You want to get around a teddy bear? I'm very much into Hello Kitty. I don't care. I love it. You know,
it, yeah.
on my birthday, I got like this glass. It's the cutest thing. It's a drinking glass of home, you know, like your regular drinking. But in the middle, there's like a nature. And it is
What is that in English?
the bunny.
The bunny.
The bunny.
Oh, okay.
Like it's a Dutch bunny.
That's cute. Oh, is it the chocolate one?
No, the white one with the X on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
yes,
being
yes,
chocolates.
I do have a chocolate one.
It has
But
a
Nancha
shirt
is
with
huge
stripes.
here.
You have a shirt with stripes?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cute.
But you know, I like those kind of things
Yeah,
too.
I
And
get
they're
that.
very much like categorized for children, but I'm kind of like, but who says adults don't like it? Hello. Or like when you go to like one of those, what do you call that? Amusement parks.
Yeah.
Come on. How do you not have fun when you go to that?
100%.
I think eventually I will get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm good.
I ain't gonna lie, we should do like a team building and buy a bunch of kids' toys. Because kids' toys these days is lit.
Honestly, that's where I have the most fun. But funny enough, we went lunch with my father before I left. And I was asking him about things that I used to do. And because he's very good at building stuff, like actual furniture, like he could build this. And he was like, back in the day when he would have all the tools on the porch, he was like, he had times he come home, he was like, what is this child doing? And I would just be like,
Yup.
hammering away, sawing away, like I know what I'm doing when I'm not. But I was just like, and to be funny enough, I said I would actually want to do it. And I tell him I was literally thinking about it the other day that I would want to actually go and learn how to use the tools that he had there on the porch, because he still has them.
cool.
And learn how to proper build, because he could build a speaker. He
Yeah.
could build, he have a speaker that he built that's better than JBL. And it's just like, yes. And it's just
That
like,
is impressive.
Yes. So I was like, I don't want to build a speaker, but I would just want to build a
baby
chair.
steps.
And one of my friends, she lived close to us, I think it's an MBO in Rotterdam, where there's a furniture school, and all the furniture that they build, sometimes they're in the foyer.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
that's so cool.
That looks so interesting.
Girl, get you that table with the saw in it and thing. Get you a sanding machine. You got this.
A sanding machine.
I'm going to ask you to build my table.
Those machines. When I do when I go home, because they're ready there.
I'd buy anything.
High key.
FYI.
High key.
I'd buy
Hades furniture. That would be lit. HF.
Yes. Because it's my shit. I gotta put my name on it.
What's your name on it?
We were talking about my name. This was such a lovely episode.
It was.
This was such a wholesome, warm, spiritual, awakening episode. I feel like you just took the floor and I enjoy listening to you.
Yeah.
Thank
and your energy, I will always say this.
Yes.
It feels good being in your energy.
Babes, I
Genuinely.
appreciate it so much. You girls
Genuinely.
are awesome.
No,
Kristen, you as well. I know you back there, but I see you, girl. I see you. I told them today, I came in this place and I'm like, everybody here is so pretty. It's so
So are you.
Everybody here is just a beautiful being. So this podcast is probably one of the coolest podcasts out there. So you better check it out. Bite the bullet.
Hey.
Bite the bullet. And these girls are awesome. So just
So
give it
are
a
you.
follow. Have a listen.
And follow this amazing human.
Yes.
We're not gonna forget you. You need to plug yourself because
where can
you're
they
very
find you?
You can find me on Instagram.
back.
Eva Croes XX. I must say I'm very, it's my social type of thing. So you can't, and for my professional stuff, just ask me because I'm working on it. It doesn't always go, but find me on socials over there and I think you should be okay.
Yeah, you never know.
put
Some
it in
people
the
will connect just because they want to be a friend. High key.
I'm open.
They're like, hey, let's go for coffee.
Let's go.
Or matcha.
I love a good matcha. Love cappuccino with oat milk. Double
She's
shot.
like, just in case you want to take me to coffee,
Double
this is what you
shot.
should get me.
Yes, double shot cappuccino, oat milk.
Okay.
That's my go-to.
Well, thank you, lovely.
Should've known
You
that.
really blessed the couch.
Have a good day.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you.
she's like, I'm going to do y'all outro. We'll catch y'all bi-weekly on Tuesdays. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we out.
Bye.
Oh, that was so amazing.